Robert Duvall might just be one of the greatest character actors of all time, yet calling him merely a character actor doesn't quite capture his magnetic brilliance. Did you know he began his career on stage before conquering Hollywood, earning critical acclaim by consistently disappearing into each role he tackled? Whether portraying a Southern preacher wrestling with personal demons or a grizzled cavalry officer in the Old West, Duvall has maintained a level of authenticity that continuously surprises audiences and critics alike. Some fans claim he can do more with a single contemplative glance than most actors achieve in an entire monologue. If you haven't explored the full breadth of his work, you're in for a treat. Today, let's take a journey through the top 10 best movies of Robert Duvall, celebrating an impressive career that spans nearly 6 decades and includes some of the most iconic cinematic moments in film history. 1. The Godfather, 1972. One cannot discuss Robert Duvall's legacy without beginning at the Corleone family table. In Francis Ford Coppola's masterpiece, The Godfather, Duvall plays Tom Hagen, the family's trusted consigliere and adopted son. Have you ever wondered how a single, quiet performance can anchor an entire story about power and loyalty? That's precisely the balancing act Duvall achieves here. While Brando's Don Corleone exudes an air of subdued menace and Al Pacino's Michael wrestles with inner conflict, Duvall's Tom Hagen stands firm as the level-headed advisor who brings calm and legal know-how to the family's volatile decisions. The Godfather famously turned the gangster film on its head by focusing as much on family dynamics and moral ambiguity as it did on crime. Duvall's understated approach encapsulates the moral gray area the Corleones occupy. He's not driven by greed or personal ambition, but rather by obligation, devotion, and a desire to protect the family that gave him a home. Critics often praise Duvall for lending Tom Hagen a sense of integrity that distinguishes him from the more ruthless members of the clan, yet never to the point of being naive. And that's precisely the brilliance of his performance, subtle, consistent, and deeply believable. This first installment in the Corleone saga won the Oscar for Best Picture and spawned one of film's most celebrated trilogies, with Duvall at the heart of the family's underworld empire. If you've never watched The Godfather, prepare to be swept into a cinematic experience that forever altered the gangster genre. 2. Apocalypse Now, 1979. Switching gears from the quiet hush of backroom dealings to the chaos of the Vietnam War, we land on Francis Ford Coppola's other groundbreaking epic, Apocalypse Now. If you've heard the line, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning," then you already know Duvall's Lieutenant Colonel Bill Kilgore has made a permanent mark on pop culture. Duvall's Kilgore delivered one of cinema's most iconic lines, instantly becoming a cultural reference. That's exactly what happens when Kilgore describes his love for surfing in the midst of napalm strikes and destruction. Duvall's portrayal here is drastically different from Tom Hagen's understated calm. In Apocalypse Now, he radiates a brash, almost hypnotic energy, embodying the film's delirious blend of war's horror and surreal humor. Despite his relatively brief screen time, Duvall leaves an unforgettable impression. He swaggers through the carnage with an odd mix of bravado and fatherly concern for the soldiers under his command. That tension between his relaxed approach to violence and genuine care for his men is what makes the performance so compelling. This film, inspired by Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness, famously endured a troubled, lengthy shoot in the Philippines, yet the final product stands as one of the most acclaimed war movies ever made. Duvall's Kilgore is one of those singular characters that prove how quickly an actor can capture and dominate your attention in just a handful of scenes. 3. Tender Mercies, 1983. Unlike the sweeping scale of Coppola's war epic, Tender Mercies delivers a much more intimate story, highlighting Duvall's uncanny gift for subtlety and emotional nuance. He plays Mac Sledge, a down-and-out country singer battling alcoholism while seeking redemption in rural Texas. Have you ever rooted for a character so deeply flawed you worried they'd never catch a break? Mac Sledge encapsulates that quiet desperation, yet Duvall infuses him with a fragile dignity that's both heartbreaking and hopeful. This performance earned Duvall an Academy Award for Best Actor, and it's not hard to see why. The film feels like a whisper, gentle, slow-paced, and gorgeously spare, and Mac's journey relies on authenticity and small gestures rather than bombastic plot twists. Duvall himself contributed to the realism by performing his own singing, which adds another layer of vulnerability to a man whose best days appear to be behind him. Directed by Bruce Beresford, Tender Mercies stands as a testament to the power of quiet, character-driven cinema. Watching Mac Sledge grapple with regrets and forge new connections with a widow and her young son can be as moving as any big-budget spectacle. If you're in the mood for a poignant slice of Americana with a towering performance at its core, this film deserves a top spot on your list. The Apostle, 1997. Speaking of complex, soul-searching characters, The Apostle puts Robert Duvall front and center not just as its star, but also as its writer and director. The result is an intensely personal project that showcases a devout preacher navigating sin, guilt, and the quest for spiritual renewal. Have you ever wondered what it takes to embody a fervently religious figure without veering into caricature? Duvall nails this balancing act as Euless Sonny Dewey, a charismatic preacher whose passionate sermons are matched only by his tumultuous personal life. From the first moments of the film, Sonny's flaws are glaring. He's prone to anger, rash decisions, and impulsive actions. Yet Duvall never lets us dismiss him as merely a hypocrite. Instead, he reveals a deeply human man striving to reconcile his genuine love for preaching the gospel with the painful mistakes that threaten to overshadow his faith. On set, Duvall immersed himself in real religious communities and took great care to depict Southern Pentecostal fervor accurately. That dedication translates into some of the most electrifying church scenes you'll find in modern film. The Apostle garnered critical acclaim, with many praising Duvall for his fearless portrayal. If you're in search of a movie that challenges simple definitions of right and wrong while delivering an unforgettably vibrant central performance, The Apostle will fill that need, and then some. 5. Lonesome Dove, 1989. Though not a theatrical release, but rather a beloved television miniseries, Lonesome Dove more than earns its spot here because of Robert Duvall's transformative role as Augustus Gus McCrae. Adapted from Larry McMurtry's epic Western novel, Lonesome Dove is a sweeping saga of former Texas Rangers who embark on a cattle drive to Montana. Have you ever wanted to witness the sheer scope and grandeur of the Old West, where friendships are as vast as the open plains, and every river crossing could mean life or death? Enter Duvall's Gus, who infuses the entire tale with humor, warmth, and a bit of mischief. He's a sharp-shooting ranger, but also a romantic who never misses a chance to tease his partner, the more stoic Woodrow Call, played by Tommy Lee Jones. Critics often applaud the chemistry between Duvall and Jones, noting how perfectly they capture the camaraderie of two men shaped by the frontier. The miniseries, broadcast on CBS, captivated audiences and earned numerous awards. Even decades later, many fans consider Lonesome Dove the pinnacle of the TV Western genre. If you love expansive storytelling and richly drawn characters, carve out some time to follow Gus and Cole's adventurous trek across a rugged, untamed landscape. 6. The Great Santini, 1979. From the dusty trails of the West to the tense realm of military family drama, Duvall's role in The Great Santini demonstrates his capacity for playing men who are both domineering and strangely sympathetic. He portrays Bull Meacham, a Marine fighter pilot with a towering ego and a merciless approach to parenting. Ever meet someone so dedicated to discipline and order that they seem blind to the emotional toll it takes on those around them? That's the friction at the heart of this film. Duvall's Meacham demands perfection from his teenage son, pushing him in basketball contests and punishing every perceived weakness. Yet in quieter moments, glimmers of tenderness emerge, hinting at a father who genuinely wants the best for his children but lacks the emotional vocabulary to express it. Directed by Louis John Carlino and based on the novel by Pat Conroy, The Great Santini is an incisive look at familial bonds tested by a figure who's both heroic and destructive. Duvall earned critical praise for this role, showcasing once again how he can command the screen by simply letting a character's contradictions breathe. If you appreciate a drama that delves into the complexities of fathers and sons, add The Great Santini to your watch list for a potent emotional ride. 7. Network, 1976. Robert Duvall doesn't have the lead role in Network, but he manages to stand out in a film already bursting with sharp performances. Do you recall the phrase, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore"? Sidney Lumet's Network gave us that iconic line and so much more, satirizing the ruthless world of television news. Amid a powerhouse cast that includes Faye Dunaway, William Holden, and Peter Finch, Duvall steps in as Frank Hackett, a network executive determined to boost ratings at any moral cost. While Finch's Howard Beale and Dunaway's Diana Christensen often steal the spotlight, Duvall's Hackett remains the cold corporate heart of the enterprise, unrelentingly focused on profit and ratings. There's something chillingly modern about his willingness to commodify real human suffering for viewer entertainment. Perhaps it's even more relevant today, in an era where media manipulation is a hot topic. Critics lauded Network for its razor-sharp script and ensemble performances, and Duvall contributed a quietly sinister presence that exemplifies corporate ambition run amok. This film is both comedic and tragic, enlightening and unsettling, proving that even with limited screen time, Duvall could deepen a story's moral complexity. 8. Falling Down, 1993. What happens when an ordinary man snaps under mounting societal pressures? In Joel Schumacher's Falling Down, Michael Douglas plays William Foster, a frustrated everyman who embarks on a rampage across Los Angeles. Meanwhile, Robert Duvall portrays Detective Martin Prendergast, the retiring cop who tracks Foster with equal parts empathy and resolve. Have you ever wondered what keeps a decent person from crossing the line into chaos? Duvall's performance in Falling Down is deceptively quiet, setting him apart from the more frenetic energy swirling around Foster. The city is boiling with tension, traffic jams, economic stress, racial clashes, but Prendergast stands as a calm eye in the storm, determined to prevent further violence on his final day before retirement. This dynamic sets up a classic cat-and-mouse tension, with Duvall's measured approach to policing contrasting with Foster's violent unraveling. Though the movie garnered mixed reviews upon release, it's since become a discussion point for how cinema depicts social alienation and moral ambivalence. Duvall's restrained work here reminds us that sometimes the hero's role lies in simply empathizing with the chaos around him and taking action before it devours everyone in its path. 9. Open Range, 2003. In the realm of modern westerns, Open Range takes its place as a refreshingly character-driven offering, with Robert Duvall sharing top billing alongside Kevin Costner. Ever find yourself yearning for wide-open vistas, rugged gunfights, and a code of honor that seems all but lost in the hustle of contemporary life? Open Range provides that nostalgic Western essence, showcasing free grazers Charlie Waite, Costner, and boss spearman Duvall as they square off against a corrupt rancher in a small frontier town. Duvall's boss is a gentle soul with a steely backbone. He's a man who can talk kindly to his beloved cattle one moment and stand fearlessly against a pistol-wielding threat the next. Critics and audiences praised the film's realism, especially in its gunfights. Rather than relying on flashy stunts, Open Range emphasizes strategic positioning, trembling nerves, and the loud crack of every shot. Duvall delivers heartfelt lines and fatherly wisdom, injecting warmth into a storyline that could otherwise succumb to grim violence. The chemistry between him and Costner resonates strongly, giving the final showdown significant emotional heft. For Western aficionados, Open Range feels like a welcome return to the genre's traditional roots, guided by Duvall's reliably authentic presence. 10. True Grit, 1969. You might be thinking, hold on, wasn't Jeff Bridges in True Grit? Indeed, that was the 2010 Coen brothers remake. But long before that, the original 1969 version featured John Wayne in an Oscar-winning turn as Rooster Cogburn. And who should show up in a pivotal supporting role? None other than Robert Duvall, portraying Ned Pepper, an outlaw whose confrontation with Cogburn provides the film's electrifying climax. Have you ever stumbled upon a classic Western and realized that half the cast would go on to become icons? At the time, Duvall was still in the early stages of his career, yet he brought a distinctive gravity to Ned Pepper, an outlaw who's more cunning survivor than cartoon villain. Though John Wayne's towering presence defines much of the movie, Duvall makes the most of his scenes, hinting at a complexity you don't always see in 1960s Western antagonists. Viewers who only know the 2010 version might enjoy comparing both films to see how the same characters can be interpreted in different eras. True Grit stands as an enduring piece of Western cinema and a testament to how Duvall, even in smaller roles, contributed a level of depth that set him apart from his contemporaries. Robert Duvall's filmography is nothing short of remarkable, weaving together sprawling epics, intimate character studies, and even a couple of unforgettable westerns. Some actors get pigeonholed into certain roles, but Duvall has proven time and again that he can embody just about anyone. The legal mind behind a powerful crime family, a war-hungry cavalry officer, a fallen country singer seeking grace, and a charismatic preacher consumed by his faith's demands. Through it all, he's maintained an aura of genuine humanity, an ability to tap into the heart of every character so thoroughly that you can almost see their entire life story reflected in his eyes. He's not just an actor who appeared in great films. He's often the linchpin that makes them great. Whether anchoring epic sagas like The Godfather and Apocalypse Now, or spearheading deeply personal projects like The Apostle, Duvall elevates the narrative with a performance that feels completely lived in. It's a rare gift, and one that has earned him multiple Oscar nominations and one win. But perhaps more importantly, it has earned him the respect and admiration of peers, critics, and audiences worldwide. Which of these movies resonates most deeply with you? Does the scorching intensity of Apocalypse Now capture your imagination? Or do you find yourself drawn to the emotional quiet of Tender Mercies? Maybe you're a Western buff who can't get enough of Lonesome Dove and Open Range, or someone who appreciates smaller, character-driven arcs like The Apostle. Tell us about it in the comments. Your perspective could spark an amazing discussion about the legacy of this acting legend. And while you're here, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed traveling through Robert Duvall's best films. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us continue to bring you more entertaining movie countdowns and in-depth film discussions. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to do it. We've got plenty more cinematic journeys lined up, featuring timeless classics and modern masterpieces alike. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, keep exploring the magic of film.